Bobby King Green versus Jim Miller. We got minus 260, which is usually the norm now for Bobby Green, and then plus 220 for Jim Miller. So let's just look at the last couple fights of Bobby Green, where he comes in as a minus 280 favorite against Thiago Moises and a minus 340 favorite against Alan Patrick. He did come in as a slight dog against Lando Veneta, but he was another hefty favorite over Clay Guida as a minus 270 favorite there as well. So I kind of lumped that fight into this Jim Miller fight where he's just going out there and fighting another UFC veteran. Now, if you remember the last fight against Thiago Moises, very, very close fight. Some people might call robbery, but you got to read into the fact that Bobby Green, more often than not, always has very close fights. And that's what you're always signing up for, is a sweat whenever you're betting him worse than that minus 250 range. Now, if he was better than minus 200 here, I'd probably consider him as a bet. You know, I mean, I think he has a solid shot of going out there and beating a guy like Jim Miller, as he has the better, crisper hands, and I think he has good enough submission defense to stay out of any type of submission that's being thrown his way. I think he's coming up close to 12 years now that the last time we've actually seen him submitted, which is a good thing, especially against a high-level jiu-jitsu guy like Jim Miller in this spot. Now that Thiago Moises fight, again, super close. First round could have gone to, I believe it was towards Bobby Green. The first round was very close, could have gone either way. Second round was Bobby Green. And that third round, that one was an interesting one because we saw him willingly engage in the clinch, which is probably the most dangerous thing for him to do against a high level black belt like Thiago Moises. And then even worse, we see him go out there and try to pull off a Kimura sweep of some sort in that clinch position up against the cage. And unfortunately for him, he's the one that ends up on his back. And we see Thiago Moises ride some good top position. Bobby Green did get back to his feet relatively quickly, but we did see Thiago Moises, accrue enough control time in that round, I believe, for him to at least snatch that victory. Again, close fight. Could have been scored either way, so I'm not mad at either scorecard here. But again, if you're paying minus 260 on Bobby Green or even minus 280 like he was in that Moises fight, you're in for a bit of a sweat. And that's why I just don't want to bet Bobby Green fights anymore. Like, yeah, he should go out there. Yeah, he should piece up Jim Miller, but there's always that instance that he could just make it a closer fight than it should be. I'm just not comfortable at playing him anything worse than minus 200. You know, again, skill for skill, he should absolutely blow out a 37-year-old Jim Miller at this point in time, but he just doesn't. You know what I mean? Like he just has these close fights. Like his Alan Patrick fight was a great fight for him. I mean, I thought he showed good awareness there, good takedown defense, and then just add success on the feet. And he could do the same thing here in terms of having good success on the feet against Jim and then nullifying the takedowns. Last time around for Jim Miller, we saw him against Vince Pichel in a very close fight as well too. But we did see Pichel slowly start to inch away, and that third round was very interesting, where we saw pretty much them exchanging grappling sequences. Vince Pichel started off by taking him down. Then we saw Jim Miller reverse position. Vince Pichel gets his position once again. It's kind of stumbling on my words right there, but Pichel does a good job of getting his position back and then landing some good damage on Jim Miller from on top. So we know Miller's game. If he's able to be successful, he'll go out there and get you out of there quickly. His last three wins alone, all of them in the first round, Jason Gonzalez, Clay Guida, Roosevelt Roberts, like he gets into these situations where he's able to pull off his submissions and do it very methodically as well too. Then before the Roosevelt Roberts fight, he loses against Scott Holtzman, where Scott Holtzman is just able to keep the fight on the feet, do some good damage from on top, and pretty much just wear on Jim Miller in that fight. Now I'm expecting Bobby Green to go out there and absolutely piece up Jim Miller on the feet. It's just the instances where we see them tie up, where Jim Miller could potentially have some success, whether it's pulling guard, landing a takedown, or one of the issues that I brought up in the last Bobby Green takedown or last Bobby Green breakdown was when he is in these clinch positions and he's trying to get out of the way, he does a weird thing of just giving up his back. More often than not, he's able to break the grip of his opponent and get out of it. But when you're, giving up your back to a high-level jiu-jitsu guys like a Thiago Moises or even a Jim Miller, it's just not the greatest look. You know what I mean? So I still do lean with Bobby, man. Like, he just fights too close to his opponent's level. And again, he's just a very talented guy. He's 34 years old. If he's ever going to get his game going, it's got to be now, especially if he wants to touch any type of UFC gold. And not to mention the fact that he dropped his last fight. He's going to have to go out there, have a very impressive performance, and really start calling his shots, as I believe that's the way for him to get closer to a title shot. I'm not sure if that's what his game plan is or in terms of the rest of his career, but I think that this is a very winnable fight for him, and I think he could potentially get Jim Miller out of there late. However, we did see some good things from Jim later in his fight against Vince Pichel, where again he was able to reverse positions and he seemed like he was completely in there. Whereas Bobby Green, he seems a little bit more lackadaisical in his approach, which is why he wasn't able to finish a guy like Alan Patrick, who shows bad cardio later in fights. And I think Jim Miller will be able to sustain his durability enough to potentially go to a decision here. So, the spot that would probably be most intriguing is Bobby Green via decision. And I do want to actually look up what that is. Green by decision is minus 120. So I'd need some plus money there to be intrigued at all. So it's not intriguing to me at that line, but I think that is the most likely outcome in this fight. We'll see Bobby Green stuff some takedowns, keep the fight on the feet, and just pretty much piece up Jim Miller for the majority of the 15 minutes en route to a decision victory.